Hi you guys, welcome back to the Kneady Homesteader channel. And today we're making bagels, sourdough bagels. It's kind of a recipe that I've kind of tweaked, but the original recipe as is, if you want to give it a try, is going to be in the brand new King Arthur Big Book of Bread. I did an unboxing and a bit of a review on this in a previous video. I'll leave a link to it up above for you so you can click on it and watch that video if you want to. But we are doing page 284, the best bagels. We're adding sourdough to it. Yesterday I also tweaked it where it says to you know, where you boil it in the water bath in the water. Here it says water, honey, and fine salt. I added baking soda because I know I add baking soda when I do my pretzels, and I wanted to see how it turned out. And it turned out to be a nice, crusty, chewy bagel. Unfortunately, a little too chewy for my dentures, which are not that sharp. Like, I can't eat steak or anything. So, since I'm, you know, one of the bagel eaters in the family, I'm going to try it this time without using the baking soda to see how that is. I still want that chew. I still want that crunch, that crust that the sourdough is going to bring it. So I'm still going to add my sourdough. If you don't have sourdough though, you can definitely make this without the sourdough. But if you do have sourdough, like I do, and like I know many of you do, and you guys have been looking at, had somebody hit me up this morning looking specifically for a sourdough bagel recipe, we're going to add it today. So, but tweak it. You know, I don't think I have ever really left a recipe alone without, you know, adding something or taking something out or tweaking it in some way. So today we're going to be adding sourdough starter to it. So I'm going to take you over to my mixer and we're going to get started. Right out of the gate, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my sourdough starter. I've got 250 grams of it. Mine was on the rise, so it's not the discard. Yesterday I used the discard and it did fine. Today I'm using starter that was on the rise, so we're going to see how that plays out. There's a little bit of water in there with it because I had used some water in my measuring cup when I was feeding my sourdough starter. So I'll show you over here. This is the veg starter for today. So, so this is part of that when I fed it this morning. So, all right, so let me go grab my yeast because we're going to add yeast to this. Okay, and to this, let me kick this back. We are adding 1 teaspoon of instant yeast. I only use the SAF brand. I've tried all the other ones and I just don't think they work as well. We're also going to be adding 2 1/4 cups of lukewarm water. I also added to this recipe a teaspoon of sugar. That's not in the original recipe, but I think it adds a nice, I don't want to say super sweetness, because 1 teaspoon spread out between 12 bagels, it's not like it makes it sweet, but I just think it gives it a nice flavor mixed with the sourdough. Now to this, we're going to be adding, let me see, in cups, it's going to be 6 3/4 cups, but we're going to do it by grams. This is 826 grams of bread flour that I'm just gonna put on in here. Now, I know many of you ask me if I still use my weight and sifter from KitchenAid. It's an attachment that I put on my mixer. I do, if I'm not filming, that's what I do. I weigh it and I sift it with that. I just love it. And for somebody like me who struggles with her hands, it just makes it really easy for me. But I try not to use it too much when I'm filming because the sifting part is really, really loud. Okay, and then on top of this, we are going to be adding, I'm going to weigh it out here, over here on my scale. Maybe you can see it a little bit. Okay, so I've got my dish on there. It's going to be 17 grams of fine salt. And I believe it's 2 3/4 of a teaspoon, I think, but let me double check. I just find that if you do have a scale and a way to measure, it's just more accurate. Yeah, 2 3/4 teaspoons of salt. And we're going to add that. I'm going to kind of push my flour over a little bit, and I'm going to add the salt right on there so that I don't have any problems with it with my sourdough or my yeast. Okay, and then we're going to put on our bread hook, dough hook I should say. All right, we're going to lift that up, and then we are going to go ahead on a level 2 and get this kneaded up. Okay, you're gonna see it's gonna start coming together in a dough ball. Now, because we added our sourdough, we might have to add a little bit more flour. And that's fine if we do. We just want a clean bowl, clean edges. So I'm gonna watch the bottom of my dough ball. And I'm gonna see if it's sticking at the bottom at all. So far it looks beautiful. And as long as it doesn't start sticking, we are good. I'm going to go ahead and knead this now for 5 minutes, and when 5 minutes is done, I'll bring you back. I don't think this is going to fall apart. I think it's beautiful. Since I have you here and we're waiting for that dough ball to finish, the sliders that we just added, the wood ones, work beautifully. And I had a lot of questions asking, Heather, does it travel? Does it walk? Because it's so slippery, you know? Like, we can pull this back and forth even as it's working here. Does it walk? And the answer is no. As you can see, it's staying put exactly where I have it. It's not doing anything but behaving. So if you were looking at purchasing the wood sliders over the plastic, I'll leave a link to that video up above and you guys can go watch that. But yeah, they're working out perfectly. All right, I'm gonna put you back on your tripod, and we've got 3 minutes left. And I did not have to add any flour to this. This is absolutely beautiful. Okay, timer is up. Set that off, shut this off, lower that, get my hook off. All right, and there she is. All right, I'm gonna get this out of there. I'm gonna get that in my sink. I'm gonna wash that up. Okay, and let me get a scraper scrape. Okay. So, there we have it. Where's my handle? Here we go. So, we're going to just scoop this out. Okay. Try to get all that. Now, it'll be a little sticky if you're using the sourdough, okay? If you're not using sourdough, you probably won't have a problem with it. But it might be a little tacky. That's okay. We're just going to form it into a ball here. Okay. Ooh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay. I'm not going to oil the bowl or anything like that. I don't want to add oil to this dough at all. So we're just going to place it in here. Okay. I'm going to get a flour, not a sour, Heather, flour sack towel. And I like to get it hot with water. Okay, I'm going to squeeze it out, wring it out really good. And then I'm going to place it in my oven with the bread proofing setting on. If you do not have that option on your stove, no worries. Just put it in your oven with the light on. Or set it in a warm place in your kitchen. Not on a stove though. Because like say you're baking something else, you put it on the stovetop because it's, you know, nice and warm. Sometimes it'll bake the bread. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. So in the oven with the light on, or with your bread proofing, or if you have a bread proofer, I know several of you have a bread proofer, do whatever it is you want. We want this to rise for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, or until it doubles in size. So I'm going to set mine for 1.5 hours, and then we're going to come, so I'll give you one last look. And then I'm going to check on it in 1.5 hours. Yesterday, 1.5 hours was all it needed. But I'll bring you back, and we'll get this shaped and formed and turned into bagels. Okay, so as our timer is about done with our bread, so it's been rising for 1.5 hours now. So what I have on my stove is a big pot of water. Now I only I do them by 2s. The book will tell you to do like 3 at a time. I just do it 2 at a time, but again, I have injured wrists, handicapped wrists, hands with challenges, and I'm also I also have some brain damage. So multitasking is no longer easy for me. So two bagels at a time, I'm not overwhelmed. 3 is a bit too much for me. So find your rhythm. Even if you do 1 bagel at a time, it's fine, okay? So big pot of water, we're gonna add to this a tablespoon of fine salt. Okay, so this is a finely ground sea salt. Okay, and then we're going to add to this 2 tablespoons of honey. I'm using, usually I have a local honey, but I'm all out. This one is a pure organic raw honey that I get off at Amazon, which is also really good. So we're going to be doing 2 tablespoons of honey. And then we're just going to let that dissolve. We're heating up this water. We want it to over medium. For me, it's like a medium high heat. We want this like a low boil or high simmer, but I'll show you when we get to that point. So we're just going to warm up our pot, and I'll bring you back. So now with clean hands, I'm going to bring our bowl over here and show you what it looks like. And now we're going to just gently deflate it. Okay. And then we are going to, let me get my little, okay, and then before we get this dough out, I'm just going to lightly and I'll leave a link to this. It's like a tea ball, holds tea, but I use it for dough. Okay, so now I'm going to scrape this out here. Okay, and get it right onto the board. Okay, and now we're just going to put a little flour on my hands. I'm just going to kind of press this out. And I do it like like a long rectangle, okay? You just really want to press out the air and shape it a little bit. Okay. And then I roll it like a log. So, I'm going to pull, get this rolled up. Okay, pinch the seams. Okay, and then just gonna press. I press to just kind of get that roll all incorporated into one inside. Stretch it out so it's not too fat in the middle and too skinny on the ends. Make sure the seam is all nice. Okay, now I want my bench knife. Okay, and then 12 pieces. Okay, so what I do is I cut it in half. Okay, and then each half I cut in half. And then each of those pieces get cut twice. Now your two ends are always going to be kind of on the small side. You can fix that if you want by taking a little off of the bigger pieces. However, I got littles. So to me, you know, a couple smaller bagels actually works out for our family. So now this is just how I do it, okay? You can read books, watch other people, find the way that it best works for you. This is just what works best for me. So what I do then, I kind of separate these out, and then what I'm going to do, a cookie sheet out with some parchment paper so they don't stick. And then what I do with each piece, I flatten out like this, okay? And now you can use a cutter if you want. If you don't have a cutter, just shape them in round shapes. You can poke your finger through here, and then here I'll show you. So you poke your finger through there like that, and then you take your fingers and you would just stretch just like that, and then shape it back into a nice round bagel shape. And then you know, if you don't have the bagel, now I'm going to be using Bagel Molds, okay? I'll leave a link to these down below if you want to get them. If you plan on making a lot of bagels like I do, because we're a big bagel family, we make sandwiches on bagels, we have egg sandwiches on bagels, lunch meat sandwich, tuna salad sandwiches with bagels. We have bagels and cream cheese in the morning for breakfast. We have bagels and peanut butter with honey drizzled on it. Oh, we are a bagel family. So we go through a lot of bagels, and bagels are expensive. The Einstein ones are now almost $6 for 4 bagels. Like, they're expensive. So if I can make them myself, I can save us a lot of money. If you plan, like me, to make bagels often, you might want to buy the molds. If not, your hole, you see how as it's rising, the hole's kind of disappearing? Some people don't like the hole at all in a bagel. It's totally up to you. They're your bagels. You do what makes you happy with the bagels, okay? But after we boil our bagels, I'm going to be putting them in this mold. All right? So, they'll keep their hole when I do that. But for now, we'll just do them by hand. Okay, we'll do them by hand together, and I'll place them on my cookie sheet, and then you're gonna want to form them, because however you put them in the water to boil, that's gonna be the shape. So if they're they're oblong, a little more oval than round, they're gonna come out oval. Once you place them in the boiling water with the honey and the salt, they're gonna keep whatever shape it is that they were when you put them in. So it's at this point on your board that you're gonna wanna shape them, okay? So I try to make them as round as I can, but if they're a little oval, it's okay. And then I use my bench knife, scoop it up, and then I have a cookie sheet. I'm just gonna lay it on the cookie sheet, okay? Just like that. So we're gonna shape these, okay? Press it down, make it round, put a hole in it, kind of stretch it out, lay them down, form your little bagel. This is so much fun. And there you have it, okay? So we're gonna put that one on. All right, now, if you have a bagel shaper, like I have, which again, I'll leave a link to this one down below. Okay, it's like 10 bucks. You can go ahead and press down and it'll cut the hole for you and it'll make the perfect size bagel for you. If my dough wasn't so happy. All right, there we go. There we go. So then it's open on both ends. So all you'd have to do is just poke that out. And then press that down. You have a perfect bagel. So it all depends on what you want to do. I bought this because I didn't know how my hands would do, like shaping and doing everything by hand. My hands can sometimes kind of seize up, and sometimes I'm frozen like this, and then I've got to like heat it and massage it and ice it, and it's a mess. I'm a mess, you guys. So I bought this in case I needed it. So if you're out there like me, if you have arthritis, if you have anything going on with your hands, this might be an option for you, okay? But for the sake of this video and the fact that I'm going to kind of put this back together, most of you aren't going to have this. Just like the scale and sifter and things, you know, I try to keep it so it's, most of you can do this right alongside of me. Okay, so we're going to put that back together. I'm going to poke a hole again. We're going to stretch and kind of roll it. So you end up with a really big hole, but as this starts to rise, that hole will kind of close up. So don't worry about it, okay? Then we're going to scrape it off and we're going to put it over here on the parchment. Okay, so then we're just going to keep going here. Okay, poke a hole, stretch it, lay it down, shape it. And then on the cookie sheet. All right, I'm going to keep going here. And I'm going to form all these bagels. And then we're going to get them in the water, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm hoping that you can see from there. I'm going to bring over my salt. And my everything bagel seasoning. I've got a little holder there for my spoon. I am using flaked salt, flaked sea salt, along with pretzel salt for the salted bagels. My family they like both the salt. And then I'm using everything bagel seasoning, okay? So this is what we're gonna do. We are going to, I'm gonna fly you over here just so you can see what this looks like. This is our honey and our salt water. Okay, I want this, and you gotta watch it because sometimes it can foam. So if it foams, you don't want it growing on you. Okay, we want it like a good rapid simmer. Okay, we don't want a hard boil, but we want a good rapid simmer. Then what we're gonna do, make sure you shape them, fix them before you plop them in, because how they go in is how they're gonna come out, okay? And then you're gonna take it and you're gonna drop them in. And like I said, I only do 2 at a time. If you have a funny seam, just push it together, make sure it's all together. Okay. Okay, there's our second one. I'm gonna drop that in, okay? And then they'll kind of sink down and then they'll pop right up. And then we're gonna boil that for 1 minute, okay? So let me fly you over so you can see in there. So 1 minute, there's the 2 right there. And again, if you wanna do 3 at a time, you don't want to compromise the water. So you don't wanna make it too full. You don't want to cool it down too much. They recommend 3. I do 2. And we're just going to boil these up. Okay. Put in here 30 seconds. The brown that you see is the honey, the organic honey, the kind of like the crystals. This is so exciting. I know it's just watching water boil, but you guys, we're making bagels. Okay, so there's our, so what you do now is you take it and you're gonna flip it, okay? I scoop right under it. And this kind of a scoop ladle works better. So now I'm gonna set the timer again for another minute. Now I'm going to take you back over here. I'll set you down gingerly and lovingly. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to set up 2 cones, okay? 2 of the silicones. If you don't have these, just ignore this. You're just going to bypass this step and you're going to go right to your parchment, okay? What I'm going to do is when I take one of these out, I'm going to put it right in my semolina flour. Or semolina flour, just my semolina, just cornmeal or semolina. I like to coat the bottoms of my bagels because I think the crunch is delicious. I also have a water bottle here that I will spray. I'm also going to now preheat my oven to 475. I believe it's 475. Hold on, let me double check. Yes, it's 475. Okay, so we're going to take that timer off. Now I flip it again and then I lift it. You can see that. I shake off all the water and now I'm just going to put it right into my semolina. Give it a little shake. And then I have a pair of tongs that I use over here. Okay. They're really inexpensive, and I think they came with the English muffin kit I think I have. And I'm just going to put them right over the mold. Okay. And then flip that one out. I didn't flip it. Okay. Go ahead, put it in the semolina, give it a little shake just to coat the bottom. And then right over the mold it goes. Just gonna press it down. And then because they're wet, this is when you want to add your seasoning. So we're going to do everything bagel seasoning. Just kind of sprinkle that all the way around. Okay, and then my family likes the little added flaked salt on top. Okay, and then they go right on the pan. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead. You see why I don't do more than 2 at once? More than 2 at once is just a little much for me. Okay, so there's another one. Goes in. Goes in. We're gonna set the timer for 1 minute. We'll let that boil up. Okay. You can see. It's like a light boil. It's not too rapid. Just light. Okay. Okay, now we're about to flip them. Okay, so you just flip, flip, and then we're going to set the timer for another minute. Give it a little shake. It goes, and then this one. Little shake. Now while that shakes, I'm going to go ahead and drop in 2 more. Set my timer. Put this one on the mold. Okay. And then we're going to do, well, I'll show you how I do the sea salt. So I do pretzel salt. Now as long as your dough is wet, your toppings will stay. You can do Asiago cheese. My girlfriend Angie loves Asiago. You can do whatever you want. You could do cinnamon. You could top this with cinnamon sprinkles, cinnamon maple. You can do whatever you want. So there's pretzel salt, and then I do a flake salt. Kids like the salt ones. Alright. And then, there it is. Okay. Put those down. We're going to flip these. Okay. 1 more minute. 2 molds. And then you just have an assembly line. You just keep going until you get them all done. I'll leave you down there for a minute. Do these together. Try not to make the videos too long, because you know your time is valuable, and I'm very appreciative that you spend the time that you do with me. So I never want to like waste your time or make it too monotonous or too boring for you. So I just appreciate you guys being here. So right, almost ready here. Okay. Get that in the semolina. And then get it on a mold. Okay. And this one. that in there. You see how they will disappear, the holes will disappear. So if you don't have the molds, you might not have, like, you know, a traditional perfectly, you know, hole in the center of your bagel, but that's okay. Especially if you make sandwiches, you might not want the hole in there, you know, because then, you know, your mayonnaise or your mustard falls out and all of that. So, and then I'm just going to add some flake salt on here. And then we're going to go ahead and drop in 2 more. Set the timer. And then I like to keep my salt on one side and my everything bagel on the other. Okay. I'll get 2 more molds ready. The molds are sold in a set of 6. I can only attest to these. They're really high quality. They're a bit more expensive. I want to say I paid $15 for 6. But if you take care of them, they're going to last you like a really long time. So I don't mind spending the extra dollars if in the long run it's going to last me. I really don't like having to buy something over and over again, you know. So so I'll leave a link to these. I know they sell less expensive ones, but again, I can't attest to the quality of those. These are pretty heavy duty. I'm really happy with these. Okay, so we're gonna flip. Whoop. 1 more minute. Okay, timer off. And on there, get that cluster on the bottom there. And then on there, and then okay, we'll get 2 more in the water. And then we're going to do these 2 everything bagel. And then the other ones will be salt. Okay. Okay. Out. And in there. And then right over the mold. And then this one. There we go. Let's drop in these 2. Last 2 going in, and then our oven is preheated now to 475, so that's perfect timing. And then we'll get this onto the mold. And then we will get these salted. Some flake salt. You can put sesame seeds on these. You can put the black poppy seeds. Pretzel salt. in onto that plate there. Okay, these are just about ready to be flipped. Okay, there we go. All right, and then our last two molds. And our last two bagels. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Now, if you want all your bagels to look identical, I would use the Bagel Cutter. You probably will end up with maybe 15 bagels that way. Maybe more. Just depending on your dough. That's totally up to you. We like them a little different. Like sometimes the kids want the biggest bagel and sometimes the kids want just a little bagel. Sometimes, you know, Danny just wants a little bagel. He doesn't want a big giant bagel. So we like them different sizes. All right, I'm going to shut off my water. We're going to do our last bagel here. And on the mold it goes. Okay. And then salt. Do pretzel. And then we're going to do flake. And then on the tray they go. Now you might have to adjust these a little bit to get them to fit where they're not kind of overlapping each other. I will leave a link to my big tray. This is a USA pan sheet pan tray. And that's what they look like. Okay, so now what I do is I just give them one more spray of water. And then in the oven, they are going to go 475 for 20 to 25 minutes. Yesterday, I let mine go for 30 minutes. I like mine a little bit more brown. But you just do, you know, 20, 25 minutes, do the 30 minutes, whatever you want to do. So when these come out, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what they look like. Danny's going to take them out for me. Here they come. Now, I left mine in for 30 minutes. Like I said, I like mine a little browner. Oh, look at that. It smells really good in the house. All right, let's jump you down. And so that you can see what they look like. Really pretty, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit now for, oh, probably like just 5 minutes. Because if you touch these little silicone shapers, they're really hot. So, but they cool down relatively pretty quickly. So I'm going to give it about 5 minutes. And then we'll take them off of the molds. And we'll set them down on a rack where they will cool. And usually if there's an ugly one, that's the one we taste test. That's the one everybody will share. Oh, there one. That's the one that kind of had a little tear in it. See it? But it kind of repaired itself a little bit. So, but you know, take one for the team. Get rid of the ugly one. You just have to decide which one. That's usually the taste tester of everything that I make. All right, I will see you back here in 5 minutes and we'll take them off the mold. Okay. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a silicone now. The underneath is still going to be hot, okay? I'm just going to want to slide it off and set it on the rack. And these wash up really, really nice. Okay. Okay, last one. Somebody asked me if it was like gummy near the center. Absolutely not. It's cooked all the way through beautifully. Beautifully. Okay, I'm going to jump you off of there and beautiful, right? Look at that. And for a fraction of the price of what you would pay for sourdough bagels. Okay, so now let me get this kind of cleaned up and we'll break into one. So we're going to break into one. They're still really hot, so I would recommend wait for them to cool down. You guys can see this. All right, can you hear it? Right. Let's see. Oh, can you hold on? Let's turn on that light, and you can see. Oh, it's still steaming though. Oh, can you see it? There we go. All right. So I would recommend letting them cool, just like bread. You don't really want to cut into it until until it's cooled. But the kids are downstairs and Danny's gonna taste test this. You don't mind, do you?
No.
And Eric's at work, so, but let me see if you can see that crumb in there. Let's see, put this one up. You see it? That's beautiful. It's so beautiful. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Okay. It's all about that crunch. Danny's gonna get some butter. You gonna get some butter on it? It's all about that crunch that you only get with sourdough. Now, like I said, you don't have to add the sourdough. You'll make it the same way. You'll just leave out the sourdough part, okay? And you'll have a great bagel.
Oh my God.
But if you have sourdough on hand, whether it be discard or whether you're feeding, whether you've got, you want to use your sourdough for something, use it on bagels. Super easy, right? Let's show them the little baby one. Here's the little baby. Now that's the one that we kind of use the cutter for. So if you're going to use the cutter, this is how they're going to come out, but you'll have more than a dozen. So it's totally up to you versus say one that size. We like them this size. It's almost like, you know, a New York bagel, but we're gonna say they're Michigan bagels. So anyway, they're your bagels. Do what you want with them. The sky's the limit. Oh, there it is with butter.
They're northern Michigan bagels.
Have fun with it. And try all different kinds of toppings.
Oh my gosh.
You can do a cinnamon raisin bagel. You could do a cranberry bagel. You could do, oh, you could do a chocolate chip bagel. What else could you do, Danny?
Apple.
Mmm.
You know me, I love my apple.
Mmm. So, let me know if you give this a try. That book, love that book. Like I said, I'll leave a link for that. I'll leave it all down below for you in the description box. I hope this was fun, and I hope this blesses you. And with that, I will see you guys soon. God bless, and take care. Bye, guys.